Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita, rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and privileged to be coming back to you again with part of my new book about Miracle in Your Mirror, Pursuing Your Passion at Any Age. And I'm talking about one of the chapters, and it's called Sink, Swim, or Float, Surviving the Tidal Waves of Life. We know tidal waves can be very strong, they can be very destructive, and we all have tidal waves coming into our lives at different times. I was talking to my international publisher, and she said, yes, we will always have tidal waves coming into our life that we need to overcome. And so this one's really important because there's different stages that we can be in our life, and of course we want to go forward and move up. And so we think about sinking. You know, a lot of times we feel like we've sunk. You know, we're just, we don't know what to do. We feel like we're underwater, you know, because of maybe several things or something very big that's happened to us or a loved one and totally transformed our lives, maybe even just a few seconds. And so you think about sinking. Why do we sink? It could be fear. Could be fear of the place that we're in at the time. It could be fear of something that we think is going to happen. It could be fear that we're never going to achieve or have the right relationships, fear that we're going under because we're financially destitute. There's so many things in fear that pull us down. And then we think of failure. You know, I thought about all the failures in my life, and whether someone's telling us we're a failure or we see that we've made so many decisions or things have happened to us that caused us to fail, we feel like we've just gone underwater again, but we can always rise from that. Rejection is another thing that a lot of times we feel like we're sinking in because I feel so rejected, I'm worthless, nobody wants me, and all that good stuff. Or even rejection in jobs, knowing that you should have had a position and in a promotion, and yet someone else got it, and feeling very rejected. There's abandonment, there's all kinds of financial issues, especially with so many people nowadays with everything that's going on. And then there's a lot of things with health issues that could be very detrimental, could be devastating to you or a loved one. And there again, so that's the sinking part. You know, we just sank into a depression or sank into a lifestyle that is very painful, but we don't know how to get out of it. So that's the sinking part. And then we have the floating part, which is a good sign, you know, where we're releasing negative relationships, whether it's at work, people we know, whatever the case may be, we're releasing negative things that are tearing us down, pulling us down under the water again. We're releasing mindsets that keep us stuck, because as long as we keep thinking the same thing will keep happening. And so as we start floating and releasing those relationships and those negative mindsets, we can come up again. We can start breathing again and feel so much more free. Sabotaging, whether it's us sabotaging ourselves or somebody doing it for us, when we stop self-sabotaging, then we can start breathing again. We can start floating up above the water again. We can start really going forward. And so that means I'm not going to sabotage myself for, say, doing drugs or drinking all the time or working all the time so I have to avoid the things that are going on at home. So I'm sabotaging my life and my family's life. There's so many things. So we quit that and think, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to sit in front of the TV and be a vegetable all night long. No, I'm sabotaging my growth by doing that, rather than getting online or getting on YouTube and learning new programs and being around people who are positive. So as we do that and stop sabotaging ourselves by doing those things that are keeping us down, we're rising again. And it feels really good to do that. But you're still kind of paddling a little bit hard. So reaffirming that you're no good, that's another thing that is pretty bad self-sabotage. And so there again, always meeting those thoughts with a positive one to change it too. You know, and so think about that, because I love this quote that I saw recently. If you think something is wrong with you, you will find it and get people around you to support it. And so that's one of the things with thinking and floating, is that we'll find people, because people treat us usually the way we treat ourselves, unless they're an empath and they're sensitive, but otherwise, if we treat ourselves negative and badly, that negative energy we're bringing in says, okay, kick me again. And that's what happens a lot. So you'll find those people if you think something's wrong with you, but you're a beautiful child of God. There's nothing wrong with you. You are precious in His sight and very valuable. And so those are the kind of thoughts we have to kick out. Another thing I thought was, I just loved seeing recently, was how would I feel if that thought never existed? I sat down and I really thought about that and listened to that. Oh, so if that thought that I'm no good never existed, how would I feel? Wow, I'd feel wonderful. I'd feel like I was capable and able to move forward in a job. I would feel so good about finding, new friends, new relationships. I'd feel so good about competing against this other person in a particular position that I want to have, or against other people in a pageant, or in, sports. Okay, so how would I feel if that thought never existed? And really think about that, all the thoughts that might come to you that are harmful, that are hurtful, and think, how would I feel if I didn't? No, you're a loser. Nobody's going to want you. What if that thought didn't exist anymore? How would I feel? I would feel like God made me, that I'm lovable, I'm made in His image, I'm surely capable of doing great things. And so really stop and think about that. How would I feel if that thought never existed? If you'd sit down when negative thoughts come to you, or just stop for a moment and think about that, then you start seeing some of the destruction that may have happened in your life because of thinking those thoughts. But if I didn't think that anymore, if that thought didn't exist, wow, I would be on a path to a whole new life. So I would really encourage you, if there's only one thing you remember from this program, think of that one. How would you feel if that thought never existed anymore? And be excited about it, because that really does make a difference. Changing beliefs and behaviors, okay, which we all have to do, especially if we're kind of down and out and we've been under the water or just barely floating, is 80% psychology and 20% skill. And so think about that. 80% psychology is your mindset, okay, your subconscious mind that we constantly have to work on. 95% of our thoughts, the things that we do, are from our subconscious, where only 5% are the thoughts, the conscious mind of, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But the subconscious is controlling all of that. So we have to change our subconscious in order to go forward in the right way. And so you think 80% psychology, okay, those are the things we need to sit down and work on. That's why we ask, how would I feel if that thought never existed? Or, how people are going to treat me because I'm a valuable human being. I'm a very valuable person. And so think of that. 20% is the skill, which means the active part that you need to do as far as learning new work habits, learning new classes, learning a new language, learning a new area of the country, whatever the case may be. And so those are the behaviors. But really, a lot of it is, again, right up here, and that's where it starts. Mindset will take us one way or another. And then I think of make negative thoughts a no-fly zone. When we hear about a no-fly zone, what are we usually hearing that about? It could be something like over the White House or over an area. A lot of times it's military. It's something that we're trying to guard against. Nobody can fly over that and harm that place. But really, the same thing should go for our mind. Negative thoughts, make that a no-fly zone in here. Those don't count anymore. They can't come in here. It's a no-fly zone, so I'm going to kick them out. As soon as I see them coming by, they're out. And so you change your life when you change the relationship, your relationship with your self-worth. And the more I thought about that, I thought, that is so true. When we have good self-worth, then we really will change our life. People will start coming to us, being friends that want to be around us. Job opportunities will come around us because people see our self-worth. And that doesn't mean being conceited or haughty or prideful or anything like that. It just means that they feel good around us with the energy that we're exhibiting because we have self-worth. That means people know they can't treat us negatively because we have self-worth, and we're not going to let it penetrate into our minds, into our heart and soul, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so think about self-worth and how you change your relationship with yourself first, and the other relationships will follow after that. So lessons discovered are so important, and what I mean by that is, what was good about this person? Did this person make me happy, sad? Were they destructive? What was the outcome of that? Okay, what was good about my past job? Was it very frustrating? Was it just the wrong culture for me? You know, maybe you have all the skills and the talent, all the experience, whether it's from school or from work, but how did that job make me feel? Was it the culture that was too different? Because I remember when I was in human resources and I was working with connecting people, recruiting and connecting people to the right job, and I would be interviewing people. But one thing I always took into a major part of it was that if someone had all the technical skills, they had all the business acumen, they had everything, but they were a real bouncy, lively, they wanted to dress, have fun with it. They had this personality that was very outgoing, and the job, the culture was maybe extremely conservative, very dressed, just blue suits, ties, whatever. It was like, no, that won't work, because their personality, what they desire, is so much different than the culture of this particular company. So think about that too, with work or other, is that a culture one that's compatible with me? So think about that in a job, or, gosh, I'm someone who really needs to be around people, and yet I took this job thinking, it'll be okay. And yet all I was doing was like typing and paper shuffling and all that kind of thing, and I'm just going nuts. Okay, so again, what was good about that job? What are some things that I could change next time? One, again, would be culture, but what else can I change about that? Is something new and upcoming that if I just took some classes for it, I would educate myself enough that I would be right in there with the rest of the gang, that I would know and I would be able to converse with everything that's going on, and they would see my talents and my abilities. So again, was it good? Was it not good? Place that I lived. Did I have to live there? Did I want to? Was it good for me? Was it negative? I know a young lady who had a neighbor who started pounding on her because, something weird happened in the neighborhood. Well, that wasn't good for her. And a lot of negative things happened after that. So that was very destructive. So again, I guess I need to be careful where I'm moving, where I'm going, and things like that. So what was the outcome? If you stop to think of lessons learned, oh, this was hard, I wish I'd never had to go through this, whatever the case may be, what were the lessons I learned from it? I'm doing that again right now with some things, and just stop and think about, what was the lessons? Did I learn anything good? Because even in the most devastating, hard times, painful things in your life, I bet there was lessons that you learned in it about what to avoid next time, or what to learn next time, or what to participate in next time or not participate in next time. So ask yourself, what was the outcome? What did I learn? And that in itself, if you really study that and think about it, could help direct your life in a whole different way, just by analyzing situations and things that you've been in. So again, think about that. To be a swimmer in the strong lane, okay, never say or do something you would not want to happen. I'm hearing this a lot, especially with more mature people. Oh gosh, my memory's going. I can't think of anything. As we go older, yeah, we do kind of forget some words and you have to stop and think about it. But I've heard so many people saying, yeah, I keep forgetting things, or, I'll probably be using crutches or a wheelchair within a year. I really heard somebody say that. and all these things about what they're planning on, negative things that they're planning on happening in their life. And so you never want to say or do something, I'm going to fail, I'm going to be a loser, they're going to leave me, I'll probably go hungry, I'll probably be booted out of my home. I mean, I've heard these things from people. And if that's what we're predicting, that's what we're prophesying, that's most likely what's going to happen. So never say negative things like that. Oh, I'm just always going to be fat, or I'm just going to always be ugly, or, you know, whatever the case may be. I'm always going to be stuck in this home because I don't know how to get out of here. No, never say or do anything that will continue to bring that same thing to you. Okay, I love this one too. It says, there's a future in you that you may have not met yet. Wow. First time I saw that recently, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a future in you may not have met yet. Think about that. You know, the cool thing about that is that you can visualize it. Doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to go to school for it. Visualize what and who you want to be, what and who you want to meet. Because again, that's the future that you haven't met yet. Why haven't you met that yet? Because you're only still maybe in this situation that's familiar to you. So think about that, who and what you want to be and to meet, what you want to experience. And I'll tell you, some of the most famous, extremely wealthy people that I've been following all still do those vision boards, you know, where they put the pictures of the things they want to do and the people they want to be like and the home they want and all that kind of thing. But they're all proving the truth in it because they are millionaires, they have happy marriages, they have, you know, they're speaking all over the place, or they're impacting lives and feeding hungry people here and abroad. They're doing those things because they visualized them until it actually became reality, because that's where the subconscious changes and that's what we draw in. And so think about that. There's a future in you that you haven't met yet. I love that. And so just think about, okay, how am I going to meet this? I'm going to visualize it until my brain will not accept anything else but these good things that will lead me to that. So think about that. You first create your habits, and then your habits create your life. And again, as I stop to think about that, yes, if my habits are to just sit on the couch watching TV all night, stuffing myself with popcorn, and trust me, I can eat like almost a whole bag of popcorn all by myself in about half an hour. So create your habits. And sometimes that's hard, but no, I'm going to get up. At least I'm going to do some exercises while I'm watching TV. I'm going to get a big glass of water instead of another big glass of soda. I'm going to have some apple peanut butter rather than a bag of chips. Okay, so little habits like that even will make a big difference, and then your habits will create your new, healthier life where your mind is active, you're having a good time in just the new experiences that you have. So you want to think about that a lot. Okay, so there's a saying that says, no one can look backwards and make a brand new start. However, anyone can start from now and create a brand new ending. And so think about that too, because especially as I've talked to older people a lot, and I have a lot of, you know, ministry in that area. It's like, I'm too old. Everything's done. I can't compete with anybody. I can't do anything. Oh, yes, you can. With all the experiences you've had in life, all the talents that you've acquired in life, oh yeah, you can definitely create a brand new ending by using those talents and share with other people. You know, I hear about people even saying, oh, you know, my grandma and I used to bake. I never really had a grandma, so to speak. And, you know, she taught me so many things. Well, those are valuable. My grandpa or an uncle or a teacher, somebody else taught me how to balance my checkbook because I had no clue what I was doing. Or, you know, every time this neighbor lady got in the middle of the kids' fights, or man, they were always able to get everybody to stop and to cooperate with each other. So again, those are all talents that are very, very important. You could be a good mediator of children's fights or adult fights, you know. So think about those other things too, besides having a degree behind your name, for instance. So I think that's a good thing to really focus on. You can create a new start, whether you're 18, 80, whatever the case may be. And I watch people do it all the time. And it's a real blessing to see them go forward. So think about some of those overcoming demons that keep us captive, because a lot of times we are captive in our mind about what's happened in our life. And, you know, again, it's fear. Fear is can paralyze us. Fear can literally paralyze us from stepping out. I mean, some people have a fear of even going outside, so they're stuck in their home. You know, so many people have a fear. I went to the dentist yesterday. It wasn't a bad thing, but it wasn't much fun. And I know some people are paralyzed at the dentist. With all my surgeries, you know, dentists don't bother me that much, but think about how fear can paralyze you and keep you captive in life that falls short of what God has equipped you to do. So again, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. You know, a lot of people use that for an acronym of false evidence appearing real. And so think about that and look at fear that way. It's false evidence. It's not true. I love the word support. You know, I always thought, oh yeah, you support somebody. I mean, you have, you know, a support group that helps other people, or child support, or, you know, you're supporting somebody, helping them hold them up on a ladder, whatever the case may be. But there are so many terms, descriptions for the word support. And that's why we need to give our support to other people, and we need to be able to accept the support of other people. Kind of hard for some of us to do. But I love this. It says support means to bear the weight of. Bear the weight of someone's pain sometimes and help walk alongside them. Bear the weight of. Hold in position. So maybe that means staying put for a while until something happens, or help someone else hold in position. Maybe they were just widowed and, you know, they're just kind of flipping off the walls and doing all kinds of crazy things. And you can help support them by holding them in position, trying to keep them focused on what to do so they don't get really wild off the path out of grief, for instance. Prevent from falling, sinking, which we've been talking about, or slipping. You know, we can slip into something that we shouldn't be doing, for instance. Again, so we have the support from somebody who's there for us. Or if you see someone who needs that support, go for it, go after it, help them. To keep one's spirit from failing during stress, to lend strength to provide or maintain by supplying with money or other necessities. There's a lot of things for the word support. Now, that's a promise that can defeat fear. So think of that word support. I have a book, Hope at the End of Your Rope, which I was thinking of holding onto that rope, steps to rebuild your life. And so this is a really important word to me, that there are so many things to hold on to and get support from others, but for you to also help support other people. And think about depression and guilt, because depression and guilt are a couple little monsters that can be major obstacles, keeping us in a holding pattern instead of gingerly heading to our finish line. You know, that beautiful place where our passion is manifested. And so think of that. There's a lot to do with guilt and depression, like if someone dies and it's like, oh, I should have done this, I wish I would have done that. But again, deal with guilt, ask for forgiveness if you need to, which is really hard to do, to swallow our pride, especially if they were at fault. But think about depression and guilt, little monsters that have no place in your life that need to go too. And, you know, that sometimes causes us to be self-centered, and we refuse to release ourselves from the grasp of past failures and circumstances. So you don't want to do that. The past is past. Like the Bible says, old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. I think about that scripture quite a bit. All things have become new. And so you really want to hold that in your heart and in your mind, and release yourself from guilt, from things that are really hard that you've done. It's done. It's past. That's the word past. It's past. It's over with. So please don't hold on to things that have been bugging you for years and that you can't let go of, because they're gone. They're gone. Today's a new start. It's a new beginning. And so think about that. And then a lot of times we get too busy, or we try to stay busy so that we don't have to deal with things, but sit down and deal with them. Talk to the people that are involved. And then see other people in circumstances. Who is responsible? A lot of times it's not you, it's someone else. Let it go. So I want to just encourage you to go forward. I'll finish this next time. Thank you.